Oh, well, that's why it stopped, is because it's only unloading pipes and it's only unloading that. This needs to go. This box needs to go. It's probably been messing up the whole sorter the whole time. Dude, you could be anywhere else right now. Yeah. You know, there was a Mark IV belt there the whole time. It wasn't the box at all, but no, the box is still bad. Where is this junk here? Okay, that's much better. There's a small piece of Mark IV belt right there at the end of the thing. That's just crazy. Okay, so all of this stuff has to now go back into the sorter. And it's still overflowing because this is bottlenecked because I never upgraded plastic. Where is plastic? And it's going to trigger the overflow anytime that there happens to be two pieces of the same item going from a high-speed belt to a lower speed belt. Well, that should have fixed that, but because it's using the pipes from the overflow and the pipes that are set for the pipes per minute from this thing, But yeah, I think I'm just gonna divert everything to the awesome sink here, because that's the same as putting the awesome sink over at coal or anything else. And it's the same as shutting the machines off. This way it clears out the what's this called? Any undefined. None. Any. Yeah, these encased beams shouldn't be coming over here. Yeah, I'm probably almost guaranteed to have missed something. I mean, I'm not really sure how important these are going to be between the boxes for the majority of the stuff. It should eventually empty out because it is getting less stuff from the input than it is from like just the parts per minute for the machines making the stuff is less than the belt speed. And you know, I realized something about the flow regulator between the boxes is it does make sure that it alternates between the different parts so that you don't get stuck just, you know, doing a stack of pipes or whatever. And it happens automatically based on whichever thing is stuck. And the other thing is, if you have a set of machines like the manufacturer is running, and you're building up excess parts, then unless you consume those parts at the greater rate, like if you have another machine that consumes those at a greater rate than what the other one does by itself, you'll never catch up to whatever's in the overflow without shutting the machines off. But I think rather than do it this way, I think I'm just gonna empty out the overflow into the awesome sink from there. Then I'm kind of having fun messing with this stuff here. I have more fun adjusting the machines than I do building them. Because building them can be kind of boring in the sense that, like, if you build everything to the perfect specification, there's not really anything to mess with. It's always just going to produce that many parts, and whatever machine that consumes those parts is going to, you know, eat those parts, and that's... This is kind of unnecessary, but it's a lot of fun for me. To have the working overflow that reintegrates parts. Which, I was gonna say, I think it's empty, but It's not. There's like a disproportionate amount of frame chug when I'm trying to upgrade these belts, and I say that because, like, if it were only my computer that were, you know, below specs or whatever, because admittedly it kind of is for what I'm doing with it, as far as the games I'm playing on it and everything else. You know, while recording and, you know, but yeah, it does everything else relatively fine, like acceptably well. Not great, but acceptably well. But when I go to upgrade stuff, it's like frame chug time. Which kind of makes me wonder if it's not something on the wing in the code or something. Like, I have no idea how it works, so that's just pure wild speculation. Well, not with any specificity. And then there's that, is since the pipes have been tuned to always produce the amount of pipes, the overflow is never going to empty unless I shut it off or I limit it from entering the system. Like it's never going to be able to catch up unless I shut it off, and I don't want to have to go back out there to shut it off and then turn it on and then forget and then mess up, and then like this whole time my battery has been draining, and I should probably go turn the power back on. I mean, where should I sink the overflow? Should I sink the overflow before the circular overflow? I think concrete is fine now, since I did the upgrade. Yeah, concrete is fine, it has no overflow. The only thing that has a problem is pipes still. And the reason that pipes are backed up is because, despite me having the exact amount of frames necessary to run the frame machine, there's the slightest delay, which causes a backup in the pipes. Between how far away the frame makers are and just where the cycles happen to fall off, and by the time it gets split between this and the versatile framework, which I think versatile framework is full again. Oh no, it's just slow to get beams. But yeah, anytime that there's any downtime in a machine between cycles, it should be fine now because I manually put some of the frames in and I retuned the lines for the frames. So it should be fine now. But I still have that backup that's in pipes. It should be fine now, though. So long as none go into the overflow from here, which it looks like it's thinking about filling up this box. Now I'm gonna have to limit the rate of the overflow like I had it before. I'm gonna have to limit this to slightly slower than this belt speed. I think I'm gonna make it Mark 2. This is Mark 2. 120. This way this box will always stay empty and it won't kick it to the overflow, but any pipes that are in the overflow will eventually be emptied back into the system. Using this as a buffer to regulate the flow to catch it back up without causing a bottleneck. But again, just the math doesn't say that it'll ever consume more pipes than it's consuming, so that doesn't make sense either. Eventually this box is going to fill back up and it's going to go back to the overflow and it's going to stay the same amount of pipes. So that doesn't make sense either. I mean, the theory was that so long as this is emptying into there at a slower rate than this belt speed, this box should always stay empty and it should eventually remove all of the pipes from the overflow. But I think that the box is filling up faster than... Yeah, the box is filling up faster than... Yeah, no. It's never gonna empty unless I shut the pipes off. And even if I empty out the overflow into an awesome sink, the amount of pipes in this box are going to stay the same because it's the exact part per minute being produced as it is consumed. So I guess I should shut the pipes off before my battery dies, and then I have no power poles hooked up to hyper tubes, and then I gotta rewire all the hyper tubes and hook a biomass thing to it. There's another solution. I could just go out to where the parts are coming in from oil and put an awesome sink and a smart splitter there to filter out the pipes over there, and not have to go shut it off all the way out there or turn it on all the way out there, because then I could just leave it by itself and not have to take the trip and do it that way. And you know, I've never used, and I don't think even one time, a programmable splitter. And rather than make a crazy sorter module or anything else, this could be the regulator. Like if I have too many of certain parts, that I want to fix or change any. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, so yeah, I think I like that a lot. Now I have a customizable filter where I don't have to build crazy amounts of multiple modules, or if I add new parts to the line or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure concrete is empty. And it's pipes that need to empty out, need to catch up. I think beams are empty, concrete's empty, plastic is empty. Yeah, it's a much better solution than going all the way over there and putting the awesome sink or adjusting the pipes or turning the stuff off. But why did encased beams end up all the way in the unmatched box? It's empty. That's weird. It shouldn't have ended up in the unmatched box. I've got beams down there. So let me see what happens if I add beams. There should be a beam in there every once in a while. Where's beams? Concrete, plastic, rubber, beams. No, it's working now. It must just have been when I was upgrading it. Some weirdness on the belt must have happened. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I gotta call it a video. Oh, no. No, I gotta go turn on power back on. What am I doing? Oop. Thought I was going back to the base. Oops. You know, part of me, the lazy part of me, wants to have switches for all of the different fuel generators back at the base. The not lazy part of me doesn't want to run the specific power lines that just patch the power poles back into the main power grid back at the base. It's nice to get some use out of the batteries, though. Which I'm gonna have to put in a turbo fuel plant until I can make, it's either that or I do radio controlled units and unlock the hub. And then skip that and just do nuclear. But see, after the radio control unit, I'm probably going to need power anyway, because then I'm probably going to be into the battery anyhow. So, the easiest thing that gives me the most bang for my buck would probably be turbo fuel. And I've got a portion of that oil node left and a portion of coal and sulfur that hasn't been turned into compacted coal. Make that into fuel. Merge that stuff into the polymer machine. You know, I might just do nuclear. In some ways it's easier because when you finally flip the switch on the thing, you have so much power. I mean, I guess I could put the turbo fuel up top. I got plenty of space, like on this side. So everything should be back to normal now. Without the added benefit of biofuel. I think I might put it over there, because then it would be a shorter run to the polymer machine. I don't have to run the oil over here, and I could just split off the coal and the sulfur to the compacted, to its own compacted coal machines up top, and run it along the ceiling. But yeah, the frame chug that happens when you're trying to upgrade a piece of belt is like, it's pretty bad. And it's pretty intense frame chug. I mean, if I were to guess, is it like looking for every possible connection within like, you know, some decimal range of where your, you know, where the calculations are, where your mouse pointer is pointing, and it's like, instead of like selecting one thing, it's selecting a whole bunch of things really fast, and all the different code associated with that is firing. Like, instead of just picking this thing, it chooses between this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing, all real fast. If that makes any sense. Like, but again, I don't really know. I was so happy when I put, you know, got plastic finish, and I was like, that's it. I could just mark everything off and everything's fine. And then I'm looking at the frame machine and I'm like, why is there pipes in the overflow? And I wasn't even making the full amount of pipes. I was one machine off. I had to turn a beam machine into a pipe machine to have the 6.75 or whatever it was. And then it's not that I'm not making enough frames per minute. It's that I didn't have any in the buffer here. And it was running just off of what it was producing with the gap in the line where the buffer covers that. That's like item slosh. But that small gap between the next idle cycle and between the next time it because it takes a second after it's got all of the parts to be like, oh, I've got the parts now. But that is enough to send stuff to the overflow, apparently. The thing that I was considering in the beginning of the video, you know, 2 eternities ago when I started, was I was going to take a portion of that remaining iron on that 600 iron, that 15.5 frame maker thing over there, and supplement it with, like, you know, 1 or 2 more frame machines going all the way back down to the ingots, so it would always be somewhat overflowed. Which is the same thing I did with this frame machine. It's completely unnecessary to do it like that, but the added benefit is when I take plates out of the box, the supplement machines continue to keep everything running and fill up the box at the same time, and then shut back down when anything gets backed up. I can still see the pipes in the overflow. But yeah, I gotta call it a video now. So everything's back to normal. I'm pretty sure the majority of this is unclogged. Which, I mean, that's just gonna take forever, so I think I'm just gonna manually put it in the box. After 2 hours, this is what I decided to do. And then still not have enough space over in the box or in my inventory to move the stuff. It's like, well, why did you even bother to build the sorter at all? But the shorter answer is you can have a sorter for junk that is just for junk, and you can have a sorter that's for parts per minute, but you can't really mix them, because if you ever go past the parts per minute on your belt, then you're going to mess up your machines. You can mix them and you can make it work, because I have mixed them and it does work, so long as you don't exceed the parts per minute per belt. But like in cases where you've got monstrous amounts of stuff to sort, like just stacks and stacks and stacks of 500 concrete, then like, yeah, you can't really do that. It will chew through it eventually, but you will see your machine's performance get bottlenecked and slow down and be messed up. So now all of this other stuff from the concrete is probably going to go into the overflow. So I should probably just take care of that now. Well, see, now it's gonna stop because I upgraded it, but whatever, it fills up the machine faster. Not that it's really necessary, but now I think I'm finally to where everything is adjusted and right. And I think out of this whole video, this is probably my favorite part right here, is removing that box and putting the programmable splitter there to have an easy regulator to remove excess parts from the system. But again, the overflow and the reintegrator from the overflow is all necessary if you have a sorter, because if you don't, then you have the overflow that isn't being managed to where it's like where you can't even have a sorter anyway. But this right here, I mean, it's so simple, but yeah. But yeah, I gotta call it a video here.